This video is for anybody locked in. Locked in. The camera is truly the ultimate threat, and I need people to understand it. We're going to go through it. I'm going to say it in an uncut way, but to start there, we have to talk about a few things, right? Just so you can understand how devastating the camera is as an existence in general, right? So the first thing we got to talk about is entropy. Entropy is unprocessed experiences. That's all it is in function. It's when presence becomes performance, story becomes spectacle, emotion becomes algorithm, connection becomes content. Entropy is not death. It's the inability to become whole overall. But then moving a little further, right? There's the catastrophic echo chamber. The catastrophic echo chamber is the spiritual and social system where everything is seen and nothing is integrated. So it's the collapsed world of infinite mirrors, no metabolization, viral memory with no meaning, and feedback loops instead of truth. So you could think about it like when grief is content, identity is performance, intimacy is monetized, protest is curated, pain is profitable. You might be like, this sounds like real life. It's because we live in a catastrophic echo chamber. And it is literally presence divorced from embodiment. It is what happens when the mirror breaks and the camera takes its place. But we're going to talk about the camera, right? I need you to stay focused. The camera is the child of Babylon, because Babylon did not fall. She gave birth. She gave birth to the camera, a tool forged in the desire of statues over sons, legacies over love, performance over parenthood. Not born screaming, but blinking, a red light, always watching. The camera is not the eye. It is the ghost of being seen. I want you to understand the situation. It's the ritual of endless self-curation disguised as connection. It's the first entropy weapon of the new age. It is a weapon of unprocessed experiences aimed directly at you. But we're going to talk about it, right? Because the mirror is deep. Mirrors are deep. No animal has a healthy reaction to their reflection. Because once in the past, the mirror was sacred, right? The intention of a reflection was sacred. It reflected without judgment. It returned presence and invited truth. But now the camera replaces the mirror. The reflection is filtered through imagined judgment. You don't just see yourself, you see how others will see you. This is recursive perception, because you're no longer looking, you're looking at yourself being looked at. This is how the self splits and how identity becomes an algorithmic echo. But here's how it gets deeper, right? The camera flattens becoming into branding, distorts grief into proof, mutates intimacy into export, erases chirality, right? Natural asymmetry, and with the symmetry of persona. So the world is naturally chaotic and asymmetrical in general. That's literally what chirality is, right? Naturally asymmetrical. Everything ain't 50-50. You can look this up. But it gets replaced with the symmetry of persona. And the worst of all is that it teaches you to flinch at your own reflection. We're going to talk about how all of these unhealthy reactions cause your actual functions cognitively to fail. So your memory, right, which is a living witness, becomes footage, endless, and undigested. Your identity becomes, which is used to be a slow becoming, is now an avatar under surveillance. The truth, which used to be your breath and the pause between your breaths, right, which is now turned into a curation and a trend. The testimony, which was formerly a ritual confession, is now a monetized disclosure, a public disclosure loop. That's all it becomes. And then joy, which used to be a spontaneous presence, is now performed happiness. This is what loops entropy, because truth with no stillness, presence with no privacy, identity with no internal anchor. You know what happens? You stop trusting your own joy unless it's posted. You start performing grief before you felt it. You document intimacy instead of surrendering to it. You become afraid of your own silence. The camera doesn't destroy you. It prevents you from becoming. It wants you literally unable to love yourself. Self-hatred is actually what keeps this thing going. And people that cannot become cannot unify. See, here's one of the things that makes the camera so deep and why it is truly the villain of our era. I hope you are still here seeing this. Because unification requires presence without posture, listening without spectatorship, trust without branding, intimacy without monetization, shared silence. But you know what the camera does? Every time it keeps the room performative. It keeps the story consumable. It keeps every truth in quote format and keeps every face curated. It makes community competitive. That's all it does. Right? The idea of community gets introduced to competition through the camera. See that's how deep it is. It turns healing into branding. The camera cannot hold contradiction, so it cannot hold people. The camera prevents unification because it demands you to perform before you belong. That's all it is. Right, but here's how deep this goes, because we in there deep today. We in there deep today. I've been flinching at giving y'all this piece, but it's important to understand that the camera is the villain of our age, because in the catastrophic echo chamber, a whole person is illegible. Right? They don't need the algorithm. They don't react predictably. They're no longer profitable. So the system will gaslight your joy, disbelieve your healing, demand proof of your pain, and punish your silence. Because unity is unmarketable. Fundamentally. But here's how you escape the camera, right? Because we're going to talk about this. The camera's a little spell. To break the camera is not to destroy the camera. If you de-weaponize it by refusing its terms, you get back to your unclaimed joy. You get back to your unposted healing. You get back to your uncurated silence. You get back to your unwitnessed presence. That's all it is. You remember that you're not your angle, and you're not your edit, and you're not your content. You are what remains when no one is watching. That is all that's left of you. That's all you have. Like the camera dies not by being smashed, it dies by being starved. When the scroll is replaced by stillness, when the reaction is replaced with breath, when the identity is no longer for sale, when the people stop proving and start beholding. And you know what's left when that happens? The hearth. It is the general warmth that we all feel in this world. It's a place where you don't have to be seen to belong at all. But I want y'all to get this, because the camera is the false altar. The camera is a God that only blesses your performance and curses your becoming. To build people again, we must unplug from the echo, return to the table, replace content with confession, replace surveillance with presence, and replace performance with mercy, because there's no unification where everyone is a fucking brand. There's no intimacy under a lens. That's not a thing. You have to understand, you got to be whole even when unwatched. And that's the hardest thing for a lot of people right now. You got to be whole while you unwatched. Your silence has to be sacred to you and not suspicious to yourself. Memory belongs to you. It belongs to me. May you see without looping for once. And you're not something to be curated down. You're not something to be refined. You're complete. And you can breathe without uploading. And if the red light blinks, let it blink alone for one time. One time you can blink off sync with it. One time you can go back. Okay? I just wanted it to be clear that the camera is truly one of the most devastating weapons to our age. And you know what they've done now? Cameras have gotten so pervasive that everyone lives under surveillance, considering their thoughts way before they even get a chance to have them. Altogether, it's completely breaking. It's completely breaking. I hope it's been clear to you what's going on, because the issue isn't to go offline. That's not the escape. Okay? The escape is to reclaim your presence. It's to guard that unperformed moment. To guard that unperformed laugh. That grief that doesn't need to be shared. And that joy that doesn't ask for approval. That's all it is. That's all it is. God never needed the camera to love you. Never needed it. And a lot of us think we need the camera to go love all the people. We need to see these other ethnic groups do better for us first. We embody more than this weapon, than this tool that they've used on us. That like the tool that they used on us, that we can't just be acting like it's just reapplicable. It's a weapon. It's a weapon. They literally have given us cameras to self-harm. Are you catching it? It's a tough one. I hope anybody who stuck around this long, I hope that y'all were able to receive the piece, because this is the toughest one. It's tough.